Platform Masters has undergone a huge amount of change since the last time you saw it. And just so you know, my voice is rather distorted because I still have the effects of my cold that I caught almost 3 weeks ago. And just for a reference, there are numerous changes visible right in this view alone. What are they? First, you have the dusk sky. It's now more realistic and brighter. Second, the air taxis have been redesigned with the new system even. Flight levels and different Z spacing and all that. Yep, I got all that in. Third, every ocean world now has sailboats added in. Fourth, the water texture has been drastically improved. I still do have room for an improvement though, but that requires the use of ground decals for that. Next, there's also the ground decals themselves that I've changed, or at least the systems behind them. I've optimized them as much as I can as far as memory usage goes, and all scenery is now virtually effortless to load, because I've changed the whole system around. I made a lot of change over all this time, and it's definitely for the better, I'll tell you. Now, remember the sky darkening effect, right? Things have changed a lot. And, just so you know, the stars come in a lot sooner, starting right about now. Let's see, where's the first star? Nope, there's one right there. When it gets to stage 4 like this, yeah, that's when the first of the stars come in. One there, one there. Not very many, huh? Well, you're wrong. There's a lot of stars. This is one of the new features that I've added to the sky darkening effect. That is, dynamic magnitude limit. Closer to the ground, it's still quite bright, so the dimmer stars are almost impossible to see. Higher up, however, the dimmer stars are more easily visible because you don't have as much light getting into your eyes, so your eyes change to let in more light, and thus you can see the dimmer stars more easily. Now for stage 6. New stars are coming in. If you look closely enough, yep, you can see them. You can see the Milky Way galaxy here. Do note that this is only a temporary case. And there's even another galaxy out here. I don't know which one this is, however. But you kind of get the general idea. Really, otherwise, beyond this, nothing has really changed too significantly. Nothing has changed here, except for the air taxis. But for the air taxis, I want to use this world, because look how high of a density these have. Oh my goodness, there's a ton of air taxis. And from updating the ground decals, I've also knocked off about 300 draws from the draw count. As you can tell here, well, there's an awful lot of air taxis. All kinds of different flight levels and stuff like that. This is one flight level from here, which is at 6 SU, scaling units that is, all the way out to 96, stepping by 6. It's a whole new system and then some. And if you look closely here, you can see that the far ones are going to the left, the close ones are going to the right. Here's one at 6 SU. I'll go up a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. I'll show you another view later on, but that just gives you the basic idea. And if you look closely at the bottom there, you can see that Ronnis has undergone quite a bit of change here too. Like benches are right here. You can see traffic lights out there just as well. Pretty much the same thing you're familiar with in the foreground. Speaking of which, here you go. See, it's yellow here, and now it's red out there. You saw that change, right? Side one's green. Nothing new with that one. But if you look closely, you can see benches here. The sailboats have also been updated as well, although I'll cover that in a little bit. Because it's now so effortless to add in new details and stuff into the scenery, well, I've added in the air taxis even here, as you can see there, but otherwise nothing has changed in this world. I need to do a complete overhaul on it. Keveran Desert hasn't really changed any either, except for the Keveran River there. High up, there's not really anything to see aside from the possible Lake Keveran or the ocean. I haven't really decided which one I want to use. but you kind of have the general idea at least. And speaking of Lake Keverin, what do you know? Here it is, watching all the sailboats going by, and as you can see, the water texture has been significantly improved. So, how would you like to see the new updated sailboats? Since that's what I need to cover. And yes, the underwater texture has been updated as well. Yeah, I just took after Keverin Desert's waving effect, and I just made some general improvements based on that. Remember that, by the way, and if you look closely, it actually looks different. This water is basically changed to account for this. That one hasn't changed, that one has not changed. This one's changed because of the water. And the other one did too. This one's changed as well. No change. Hey, this one looks different. Well, even though that is water, but it's certainly a lot different. I'll be covering that in a bit. No change there. No change there. No change there, even though it involves water. And that's basically the full cycle. Keverin Forest has the air taxis added in, but it needs a complete overhaul. Speaking of which, remember the trees? Well, I don't have them right now, but I do have a test system that's available. Nothing's really otherwise different, but I'll cover the test case later. Air taxi will really show you the ocean very well, and if you look closely you can see all the sailboats below quite well. However, one thing to note, this is what the new air taxis look like. And if you're looking closely here, you might be wondering, why isn't that one moving? Well, that's because this one's going 96 miles an hour to the right, and as you can tell here, this one's also going 96 miles an hour to the right. Those farther away are going 96 miles an hour to the left, so they're going by 192 miles an hour. Now if you look at these, this one here, this one's moving. That's because as the flight level goes up, higher flight levels, the air taxis are spaced out more, and in addition to that, they are also faster. Other than that, there really isn't any significant change to here, other than following the standards where everything starts up so much higher than before. Of course, you definitely don't want to be taking a plunge into that water down there. And yes, you'll still see the platform levels going by. I have actually made plenty of changes to this one. So what changes did I make? Well, as you can probably tell, the ground decals have been updated and the cliff face has been updated as well. The fish have been spaced out slightly more and there's a lot more variety as well. But the main thing I need, of course it doesn't help that it hit a spring. So what am I doing? I'm going to show you something. It's a new detail I added in. Hey, now what's a sailboat doing under here? There's a sailboat underwater called the Scuba Diver. What do you know, a sailboat that wanted to go scuba diving. How funny. But there's more to it than just that. What else did I make? Well, if I get over to it in the first place, you will see. Of course, it's a long ways over to the left. What do you know? What is that? That's a submarine, or at least the basic idea that I had in mind anyway. There is still another thing that I have yet to show, except it's a long, long way away. Where is it? I need to go a long way to the left. This will end up taking a long time to do, and then again, why do I always forget about it? I don't know why, but I do. Remember this useful feature? Oh, let's see, where is it? somewhere around here. I'll take that one. Move character. Yeah, the character's on the bottom. I think I went too far to the left. So yeah, ooh, what do you know? It's a ways over. I need to find that one hill that gets really high, like there. Right there, I just saw it. Yeah, if you saw that right, that's a sailboat. In this case, it's the Stormmaster, and it's sunk to a storm. Kinda make you wonder, don't it? Yeah, those are the only two sailboats I have that serve that function. And Carnivalesta hasn't really changed much, except for the water, of course, in the background area out there. And, of course, the air taxis are also a little bit different. A lot different, actually. What am I saying? If you look closely enough, you can see just how different they are. I just need one in the foreground at the moment. Here, air taxi. Where's a close one? Surely there's plenty of them around. That looks like one. If you look closely here, you can see two lights on the rear and a bright light in the front. Originally, they didn't have that. Ah, here we go. Here you can see a close-up of the new air taxis. And that's pretty much really about the only significant change that I made to this. And there's another one directly above. What do you know? Santos Mountains hasn't really changed aside from the watercolor being different. But other than that, there's really nothing new here. Gotta love running around on mountains. Emerist, you can see the rivers and stuff in there. Yep, that's all the kinds of details this world has. It's one of my favorite worlds. Actually, it is my favorite world. And this one, well, guess what? You can now see a lot of new detail that you never saw before. And those trees, wow-wee, what a difference. Of course, they're not entirely complete. These are my old trees, what they looked like before, keyword before. And, well, here's what the trees look like afterward. You can see a huge difference. My trees, really bad quality. These trees from Caterpillius, for which I wished he would return so he can finish his project, well, you kind of get the general idea. It's quite nice how they forest out like that. In a way, this is actually what Keverin Forest will look like. Of course, with the speed is a different subject, but you're going to get the general idea at least. But the main thing about this, the train. Yes, you're seeing that right. You can see a train going by. And this is not the only train. Yeah, that's right. If you're noticing closely here, there seems to be a second rail going by back here. It actually won't be too long before that new train will come. So I'll just sit here and wait, watching the background zipping by. There it is. Ain't that fast. Look at all those train cars going by. Wow-wee, that's fast. You have to remember, this train is going 192 miles an hour to the right. This one's going 192 miles an hour to the left. No wonder why it's going by so fast. But if you really want to see the detail on the train, well, here you go. This vehicle serves a special role. It's what I call the anti-drag vehicle because it's supposed to cut through the atmosphere and, well, redirect it in quite an efficient way, or at least that's what it's intended to do. And of course you got your box cars, your empty cars there that are got nothing on them. And you got your hydrogen cars. There's actually two of them joined together. I'm kind of thinking of having something here that kind of curves it inward so it doesn't look seamless like that. So that's just one of the changes I need to make. But cars are not one box only. There's actually two. Yes, two. Of course, that platform getting in the way doesn't help any. Kind of hard to see where the platforms are. Right here you can see it too, but this gives you, on this design here that I have here, it gives you a sense on how they are arranged. This would be the lowest point you could actually get to. You're not allowed to get any lower than this. And if you stand on top of the double stacked cars here, on the double boxes right here, this is what you would have instead. Quite a difference, isn't it? Of course, just like the foreground train, there's also stuff in the far background. For some reason I'm getting a lot of dropped frames. Oh, that was convenient. Yeah, this is my drop frame indicator. I'm not getting the full frame rate for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm not. But since I really want to crank up the speed, I might as well go over a long way. Almost to the end of the cars. And there's the other anti-drag vehicle, or at least the one in the front. Air comes from over here, hits this, routes the way up. And this part just guides along the rail here. And there you have it. Of course, there's no contact being made. It's actually a maglev train. That's what World 11 actually is called. Of course, you can see the road here. There are going to be cars here, but I need to rework on the cars, however. Other than that, that's really about it. Of course, you don't want to be landing on the rails, because it's instant death. So that gives you the basic idea behind this particular world. I do need to redo those mountains off in the background there, because they're spaced too closely together. Because right about here you're supposed to be able to see the gap right in here, but nope. Even way up here you can only start seeing it here, but you still can't see it in here. And of course they also take up a lot of memory as well. Other than that, they're not too bad. Now, you remember that different water on that one sailboat? Here's this change. There they are, minecart there. That sign's nothing different. In fact, nothing's really changed. Other than just that, of course. And optimization. Mount Centusia, nothing's really changed here, but one thing that I do need to do is make this have a varying Z distance. Nothing special otherwise. Musan Taiga has not really changed at all, aside from the addition of air taxis. Nadara Ice Shelf is the same way. Nothing but air taxis, and of course watercolor being different. Nadara Highlands, also don't forget your air taxis. And the snow, I need to redo the snow. If you look closely here, it does move, but it takes a careful eye to notice it. But if you really go up, things are a little different. Air taxis in this Nadara region are extremely rare. And now, this is another major change I made. Earth Space Base. Notice a lot of differences already right off the bat. Yep, first thing, and there's already a lot of differences. Of course, I didn't really need that one up, but you get the idea. Here's some directionals that give you an idea on where things are. And I'm going to move over a little bit more. So this says commercial. You go to the left, 672 blocks. One block is the thickness of this platform, in case you're wondering. Elevator, that's space elevator by the way. Back and left, 80 blocks. Yes, there will be a space elevator added into the scene. It's kind of right about straight down from here, but I don't have it added in at the moment. It's a story item, if that's any hint. So, what's next? There's farming. You go this way for that. Observatory, that's what this odd object out here is. You gotta go almost one, let's see, where was that? Oh, that's laboratory, okay. Yeah, you go straight back 1¼ kiloblocks. Observatory is 960 blocks this way. Kind of far, isn't it? Yeah, 960 blocks straight out that way. And then of course you have your residential to the right here. These buildings are not only commercial, but they're also residential. They're kind of prefabricated in a sense. And if you notice that there's no buildings around that, there's actually a reason for that. I did it deliberately. Of course, there is more text than just this, however. And by the way, yes, Earth does move in the background. Okay, where are you? Looking for another gap in the buildings. Right there. So what's here? Platform Masters. Yep, this banner has changed a lot. If you look closely here, will you be the world's next platform master? You're probably already familiar with that, right? Now, you remember that Platform Master's sailboat, right? Well, Champ begins July 20. See it live for 2,000 Egani. Egani is the money currency that's used in this game. Here you can see the labeling more easily. There's more labeling on top of just this, though. Here's one of them. You're probably very familiar with this one. My ridge was space bases, ball for Earth, dome for Sol 18 to represent the space base identifier, and you can see the dome itself there quite well, or the observatory's dome anyway. That was nice. Of course, the low gravity doesn't help much either when you're trying to get stuff done. And then of course I end up skipping over everything. That doesn't help any. Use my debug panel to get back. I need to use this platform right here to go up. Why do I need to go up? Because I want to show you the another one of these new banners that I've got. Yeah, there's plenty of them used. Johannesburg, South Africa, with a latitude and longitude. So if you were to look exactly straight down, if you could pan the camera, for which you cannot do that, you would see exactly where Johannesburg, South Africa actually is. But there's more to it than just that. One thing that separates Platform Masters from other games, or at least other platformers, is the fact that even if an object is incredibly distant, Platform Masters still has it moving. Don't believe it? Watch Earth move. Yeah, 3,000 miles an hour. Boom. Boom. See it moving? Yeah, this is an insanely far away object. In fact, it takes 131,072 coordinate units just to get the Earth to move once. Take the width of the screen here, okay, and go that distance 128 times. That's what it takes to get Earth to move 1 pixel. Of course, as you can tell here, the view does seem a little different from the last time, but you can see the Nile River, the Mediterranean Sea, the boot of Italy kicking Sicily, Greece over here. You can see all kinds of details. Isn't the view from space nice? I think I forgot to update the star sky though, however. But as you can tell, the Earth sure moves a lot, doesn't it? Mars Space Base. Oh yes, I have this one now, but it's different. This is interesting. Yep, this is now the first time you have ever seen Mars Space Base. And yes, the gravity is even lower. That's expected. It's only about 15% as strong because you got a lot of distance. But where's all the buildings and stuff? That's because this space base is almost brand new. Yes, it's almost brand new. That means, well, I want to go up a bit so I can show you this. And yes, Mars moves in the same way as Earth does, except differently. Polar Research Lab B, Icaria Planum. Yeah, if you were to look exactly straight down, that's where that is, generally. Latitude and longitude on Mars, and you kind of get the general idea on where things are. And just so you know, yes, Mars does move. In the same way Earth does, except that it's not as rapid. Nice use of the bounce ability there. So, how'd you like to see Mars moving? Here you go. Noticing how it's moving about twice as fast as before? Yep, that's what it is all about. That's because instead of 131,072, it's 65,536 coordinate units. Half as much. Which also, when you think about it, Earth is about twice as big as Mars, and yet this looks to be about the same as Earth. However, given that size difference, Mars is closer, and thus it moves faster, or at least it requires less distance. There is one problem I have, though. I need a large texture that's in public domain. This image is not entirely in public domain, but it is being fair use, basically. So, for now, I need to find a texture for Mars that's of the size I need. What size do I need? 21,600 by 10,800. That's what I prefer. The minimum is 16,384 by 8,192. Yes, it's big. But that's also because this is also big. You can actually, if you look closely enough, see some smoothing present. That's because the resolution on this was inadequate. It doesn't meet the needs. Other than that, I need, just so you also know, I need true color. And this looks a little different here. That is actually a space base. Yes, a space base, just like that in the foreground. It started up right here if you look closely enough in earlier parts of this video. But it gives you the general idea. And lastly but not least, Baruch Islands, World 19. It's a hidden world, but just to give you an idea on the updates that I have on it, you're not going to see anything lower than this, but you will see any stuff higher up. Nothing really new there. Air taxis have the lights. Yes, I've changed the setting to night because Moose and Swamp, World 20, will have the dusk sky. Or at least that's what I planned on anyway. So, as you can see here, I have adjusted everything to being night, except I don't have the darkening effects and stuff like that the islands have. This world is going to be a challenge, and you definitely don't want to be going too far underwater either, because it gets so dark down there you almost can't even see where you're going. But then again, this world is optional, but it's a great challenge. This video was created by Ulillillia. Thank you for watching. And by the way, don't forget, there's pretty stars up above.